Picture this: a Royal Air Force pilot, cruising at altitude during World War II, watches a glowing orb the size of a basketball float through the solid metal fuselage of his aircraft, pass through it like it isn't there, hover in the cockpit for 8 seconds, then silently vanish. He filed an official report. The RAF logged it. The physics have never explained it. What you just heard isn't a ghost story. It's one of thousands of documented accounts of something called ball lightning, a phenomenon that science officially confirms exists, has been captured on camera and spectrograph, and still cannot explain. And tonight we're going deep on it. Because ball lightning is just the beginning. There is a class of natural phenomena that have been observed, recorded, measured, and they remain completely outside every physical model we have. This isn't fringe science, this is mainstream physics with an open wound. Let's start with the basics. Ball lightning is a glowing spherical object that appears during or after thunderstorms. It ranges in size from a golf ball to roughly a meter across. It floats, it drifts, it moves against the wind, it passes through solid objects, it lasts between 1 and 10 seconds, and then it either silently fades or it explodes. Ball lightning has been documented on every continent on Earth. It has been reported by airline passengers watching it float through aircraft cabins, by sailors watching it roll across the ocean, by physicists, military pilots, and ordinary people who had no idea what they were seeing. Here's the thing about eyewitness accounts. Science is usually skeptical of them, and rightly so. But when you have thousands of reports going back centuries, including from trained observers filing official military reports, at some point the data demands a response. And in 2014, that response came. A team of Chinese scientists, Sen, Yuan, and Shui, were conducting field research on ordinary lightning in the Qinghai Plateau when something happened that changed the entire conversation. Their spectrograph, a device that analyzes light and breaks it into its chemical fingerprint, accidentally captured a ball lightning event on video and on instrument at the same time. For the first time in recorded scientific history, ball lightning was measured. They had its spectrum. And the spectrum showed lines corresponding to iron, calcium, silicon, nitrogen, and oxygen, all elements found in soil, the kind of elements you'd expect if a lightning strike had vaporized the ground and somehow locked the resulting energy into a self-sustaining sphere. The paper was published in Physical Review Letters, one of the most prestigious physics journals in the world. It confirmed ball lightning is real, and it gave the first ever chemical snapshot of what it might be made of. But here's the part that keeps physicists up at night. The data didn't fully match any theory we had. Plasma balls dissipate in milliseconds. Ball lightning lasts seconds. Plasma doesn't pass through glass. Ball lightning does. Every model broke down at some point when tested against what the cameras actually captured. We had the fingerprint, we didn't have the explanation. And that opens the door to something even stranger. Because when scientists tried to explain ball lightning using existing physics, every single theory failed in a different way. And that's where things get genuinely unsettling. There are currently over 40 competing scientific theories for ball lightning. 40. In physics, when there are 40 theories, it means there is no theory. Let's walk through the main ones and why each of them falls apart. Theory 1, plasma. Ball lightning is a ball of ionized gas, plasma, held together by its own magnetic field. This sounds reasonable until you check the numbers. Plasma at atmospheric pressure dissipates in milliseconds. Ball lightning lasts between 1 and 10 seconds. That's thousands of times longer than any known plasma ball can sustain itself in open air. Strike 1. Theory 2, microwave bubble. Some physicists, including a team who published in the journal Scientific Reports, proposed that lightning strikes can generate microwave radiation, which gets trapped inside a spherical shell of ionized air, creating a self-sustaining electromagnetic bubble. It's elegant. It can theoretically explain the passage through solid objects, if the material is thin enough and non-metallic, but the energy source disappears the moment the original lightning strike ends. Why does the bubble persist? Nobody has a satisfying answer. Strike 2. Theory 3. Silicon nanoparticles. This one is based on the CERN 2014 data. Lightning hits soil, vaporizes silicate minerals, and creates a cloud of glowing silicon nanoparticles that slowly oxidize in air, releasing light and heat as they burn. Lab experiments have actually produced small glowing spheres using this method, lasting up to 8 seconds. That's the closest any laboratory has gotten to replicating the phenomenon, but it doesn't explain ball lightning appearing inside aircraft at altitude, far from any soil, and it doesn't explain the magnetic anomalies some instruments have recorded near ball lightning events. Strike 3. Every theory explains some features, none explains all features, and this is what makes ball lightning genuinely important to physics, not as a curiosity, but as a problem, because whatever it is doing something with energy that our current models say shouldn't be possible for that long. A phenomenon that breaks the rules in multiple different ways simultaneously is a phenomenon pointing at something in physics we haven't figured out yet. But ball lightning isn't the only phenomenon in this category. And the second one is even stranger, because it has been continuously monitored by university research stations for over 40 years, and it still has no accepted explanation. Deep in central Norway, there is a valley called Hessdalen. It is remote, cold, and not particularly famous, except for one thing. Since at least 1811, people have been watching unexplained lights appear in the valley, not once in a while, regularly, predictably, consistently. From 1981 to 1984, floating orbs, blinking spheres, lights that changed colour, lights that moved with apparent purpose. Scientists showed up. In 1984, a Norwegian research expedition spent 1 week in the valley with equipment. In that single week, they recorded 53 separate observations of unexplained light phenomena, several of which were simultaneously confirmed by radar. Radar, not cameras. Radar. The lights were physically bouncing radio waves. Since 1998, a permanent automated observatory has been operating in the valley. Cameras, spectrometers, radar systems, run by a collaboration of Norwegian and Italian universities. Bjørn Gietli Hauger published the landmark study in Acta Astronautica in 2010, documenting what the instruments had recorded. The conclusion? The lights exist. They emit real electromagnetic radiation. They produce real radar returns, and the power source driving them remains unknown. The best current description, and this is the scientific literature speaking, not speculation, is a combustion process driven by an unknown power source. Think about that phrase. After 40 years of continuous monitoring, university research stations, international collaboration, peer-reviewed journals, the conclusion is something is burning in the air above this valley, powered by something we cannot identify. Various theories have been proposed: piezoelectricity from the rocky terrain, ionization from cosmic rays, dusty plasma. None have been proven. The lights continue. And here's the thing that should genuinely make you pause. The Hessdalen lights aren't unique. Similar unexplained luminous phenomena have been documented at specific sites around the world. In Japan, in Australia, in the United States. In every case, real instruments, real data, no consensus explanation. Ball lightning, the Hessdalen lights. These are not ghost stories, they are open problems in physics. Documented, measured, and unresolved. Here's what ties these three topics together. Ball lightning, the failed theories, the Hessdalen lights. They all point to the same uncomfortable truth. The universe is not fully explained, and some of what remains unexplained isn't hiding in distant galaxies or deep quantum equations. Some of it is floating 50 meters above a Norwegian valley. Some of it passed through an aircraft cockpit in 1943 and left no damage and no explanation. Science is not a finished book. It is an ongoing process. And these phenomena represent genuine open pages. Pages that physicists have been staring at for decades, with real instruments and real data, still looking for the right words. The fact that these things exist and that we don't fully understand them is not a failure of science. It is science working exactly as it should, documenting reality faithfully even when reality doesn't cooperate with the models. That's actually the most extraordinary thing here. Not that ball lightning is mysterious, but that science is humble enough to admit it. If your brain just did something uncomfortable, subscribe if you want more of that. And drop in the comments, which one got you more, ball lightning or the Hessdalen Valley?